What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Pellsby's Exegetes. So today we're going to be answering the question, what is the Apocrypha and should you read it? Now, Apocrypha comes from the Greek word apokryphos and essentially means hidden. And it's a series of books anywhere from 3rd century BC to 1st century AD that's comprised of historical books, quasi-historical books, wisdom literature, as well as some additions/completions of certain Old Testament books. And there's a certain views, the mixture of views within the church. Protestants would not see the Apocrypha as scripture, whereas the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church would. As a result, the Old Testament canon for the Protestants, we would have 39 books in the Old Testament, whereas Catholics would have 46 books and the Eastern Orthodox Church would have 49 books. Now, where does the actual Apocrypha come from? Like, what manuscript tradition do we actually have it from? Many of our old codices is what we have. Codex Alexandrinus, primarily. We have Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Vaticanus. If you haven't watched my videos on those manuscripts, maybe watch that video and go watch and come on back. But many of these, now, doesn't just because these codices actually have the Apocrypha in them doesn't mean that the early church thought they were scripture. Often you would have extra books within as part of a collection for books that were of importance. So just because they are part of these codices doesn't necessarily mean that they are a part of scripture, or that the early church thought that they were part of scripture. And they are not found in any Hebrew or Masoretic texts. So this is when we took a look at the Apocrypha, it was not seen by Judaism as scripture as well. So we have what's called this intertestamental period, right? So we have the close of the canon. We see by the last book was Malachi. That was the last prophet, and there was this period of silence in this intertestamental period intertestamental essentially means between the two testaments. So in between the Old Testament and the New Testament, we have this kind of gap. And so what the Apocrypha does is kind of fill in that gap. And again, it's had a very mixed history over the many centuries. In 1546 at the Council of Trent, probably the most well-known example of this kind of schism, it was the Counter-Reformation by the Catholic Church to the Protestant Reformation. So in 1546, the Council of Trent, the Catholic Church actually canonized a series of books in the Apocrypha and actually added it to their scriptures. So let's get into some of these books. What are they? So first we have the historical books, and that's books like 3rd Ezra and 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Maccabees. These are very important books from a historical standpoint, especially when it comes to understanding the thought process within the 2nd century, this intertestamental period. It's what helps kind of paint the picture and gives a backdrop that we don't see in the Old Testament and we don't see in the New Testament. Then we have books that are kind of quasi-historical, Tobit and Judith. We have our wisdom literature, Sirach, also called Ecclesiasticus, Wisdom of Ben Sira, Wisdom of Solomon. Those are your wisdom literature. And then this is where we get into the additions and completions to certain Old Testament canonical books. First Baruch, which would be the scribe to Jeremiah, right? That's kind of a completion of Jeremiah, the Epistle of Jeremiah, the Prayer of Manasseh, Prayer of Azariah, Song of Three Young Men. Daniel's very important for the intertestamental period. They really love the book of Daniel. We have the Susanna as well as Bel and the Dragon that are all kind of add-ons to Daniel. And then lastly, we have the additions to Esther as the kind of sum up this Apocrypha. And so the question is, should you read the Apocrypha? As a good Protestant, I would not say that the Apocrypha is scripture, but I believe it is extremely helpful to understanding the mind of the intertestamental period, of what if Judaism was going on within Judaism in the Second Temple period. And so I believe that every good Christian should read the Apocrypha to help kind of get an understanding of what's going on in that period. Places you could probably start is First Maccabees. That's just kind of a entry level into the Apocrypha. Again, given a nice historical background to kind of the military exploits of the Maccabees in the 2nd century. And so maybe start there, First Maccabees. Again, I wouldn't say that the Apocrypha is scripture, but it is super helpful, and I believe definitely it's something that you should read. So I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to drop a comment. Maybe you have heard of the Apocrypha before, maybe not. Have you read it? What do you think? Anyways, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Till next time, keep putting those puzzle pieces together. God bless.